This is Kajol Jadhav and I am here to explain daily current affairs for UPSC Civil Services exam. By handing over the Hambantota Port to China, Sri Lanka sends a sobering message to region and India. Why couldn't Sri Lanka government run the Hambantota Port on its own? Why India is concerned over Chinese company controlling the Sri Lankan port? What is String of Pearls? Do you think Hambantota Port was part of String of Pearls? GS Paper 2, India and its neighbourhood relations. In this video, you can find detailed answers for all the above questions. The above article has been retrieved from the Indian Express dated December 19, 2017. What we are providing here is just a 10% sample out of the full-length video. Visit our website iasvideos.com to join the course and to unlock all videos. We offer this pendrive course cash on delivery on Amazon.in too. Amazon will deliver our course to your doorstep. What is the context about? 7 years after the China-built Hambantota Port was inaugurated as a symbol of country's rising geopolitical aspirations in Asia, the Sri Lanka government had inaugurated the first phase of this port in 2010. Now, Sri Lanka has handed it over to the state-run Chinese company China Merchant Port Holdings because it had considered it as a white elephant and they can no longer manage it. For the record, the agreement to hand over Hambantota to China was signed on July 29, 2017, exactly 30 years after the India-Sri Lankan Accord. Why couldn't Sri Lanka government run the Hambantota port on its own? China's Exim Bank loaned 85% of the finances from the $1.5 billion port at an interest of 6.5%. The balance was put up by the Sri Lankan government, which borrowed heavily from other sources for it. The first phase, which Rajapaksa inaugurated in 2010, 1 year after winning the war against the LTTE, comprised 4 berths and buildings and cost about $650 million. The repayment amounted to $60 million annually. The port, which began operations in November 2011, had to start making money by 2013 in order for Sri Lanka to be able to repay the loan. However, by 2016 end, the government estimated its cumulative losses at $3 billion. Why India is concerned over Chinese company controlling the Sri Lankan port? The full context of the deal has not been made public. In fact, the terms and details of the revised deal were not even tabled in the Sri Lankan parliament. It could therefore have overriding clauses whereby China could null Sri Lankan control and authority in case of conflict of interest, especially on military ship movements. Past evidence of Chinese warships docking at Sri Lankan ports have proved its military ambitions in the region. The Sri Lanka's moratorium on the docking of Chinese warships and submarines at Hambantota is unlikely to endure in the long run. China is bound to exploit deliberate ambiguities in the agreement to utilize Sri Lankan ports for military replenishment purposes. What is String of Pearls? The String of Pearls refers to the Chinese sea lines of communication which extend from the Chinese mainland to Port Sudan. The sea lines run through several major choke points such as Strait of Mandeb, Strait of Malacca, the Strait of Hormuz and the Lokpok Strait, as well as other strategic maritime centers in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, the Maldives and Somalia. Do you think Hambantota Port was part of String of Pearls? As perceived by India, it is Chinese strategy to encircle India and gain advantage in the region. It will give China easier access to airfields and ports for military and economic operations. As per China, the objective is economic. It will facilitate China to access oil and gas resources in Central Asia and other parts of the region. China imports 15% of its oil from West Africa, is the largest consumer of Sudanese oil,